Imagine, if you will, the dawn of the 17th century, a time of exploration, discovery, and great peril. The world was opening up in ways unimaginable to those living in the Middle Ages. New lands, new peoples, and new opportunities were just over the horizon. This was the age of exploration, a period marked by intense rivalry between nations eager to establish colonies and expand their influence. England, still a fledgling in the race for colonies, was locked in a bitter struggle with Spain, the dominant power of the time. It was an era of great navigators, bold adventurers, and cunning diplomats, all playing their part on the world stage. In England, a group of ambitious men led by the Virginia Company saw an opportunity. They dreamed of wealth, influence, and a new English foothold in the Americas. In the midst of this era, a daring venture was launched, the establishment of Jamestown. In December of 1606, 3 ships carrying 104 men and boys set sail from England, destined for a brave new world. Their voyage was not for exploration, nor for religious freedom, but a business venture. These men and boys were employees and contractors of the Virginia Company of London, a joint stock company looking to establish colonies in the New World for profit. The journey across the Atlantic was anything but pleasant. They faced harsh conditions, battling fierce storms and freezing temperatures. The cramped quarters of the ships were breeding grounds for disease, and food and fresh water were in scarce supply. Yet, their spirits remained unbroken, driven by the promise of new opportunities and the allure of potential wealth. After enduring 4 long months at sea, the sight of land must have been a relief beyond words. Arriving at Chesapeake Bay, they navigated further inland, seeking a suitable location for their settlement. They needed a place that offered a strategic advantage against potential enemies, had a deep enough harbor for their ships, and was surrounded by abundant natural resources. What they found was a peninsula jutting out into a river they would name after their king, the James. Here, they would stake their claim, oblivious to the struggles and triumphs that lay ahead. Little did these travelers know, their landing spot would become the first permanent English settlement in America, Jamestown. Upon arrival, the settlers were met with a harsh reality, a hostile environment, unfamiliar territory, and the looming threat of local tribes. Jamestown's early years were a testament to the human spirit's ability to overcome adversity. The settlers found themselves in the midst of a foreign land with a brutal climate, far removed from the gentler weather patterns they were accustomed to in England. They grappled with sweltering summers and bone-chilling winters, battling disease and malnutrition. The land, although rich, was initially unyielding. The settlers lacked the knowledge and skills to coax it into productivity. This period of extreme hardship is often referred to as the starving time. Food supplies dwindled, and the settlers were forced to resort to unthinkable measures for survival. The population plummeted as many succumbed to the harsh conditions. It was a true test of grit and determination, a struggle to hold on to life in the most trying of circumstances. In addition to battling the elements, the settlers found themselves in a volatile relationship with the local Powhatan Confederacy. Initial attempts at peaceful coexistence quickly disintegrated, leading to a series of conflicts that further strained the struggling settlement. The settlers were constantly on edge, living under the shadow of potential attacks. Amidst this turmoil, the settlers were also tasked with finding a profitable export to ensure the financial viability of the Jamestown settlement. They experimented with various products, including glassmaking and lumber, but it was a certain leafy plant that would eventually prove to be their salvation. Yet in the face of all these challenges, the settlers refused to admit defeat. They showed an incredible resilience, a stubborn refusal to give up, and an unwavering belief in their mission. They pushed through the hardships, slowly learning to adapt to their new home, establishing a foothold in this unfamiliar land. Yet, despite these hardships, the settlement of Jamestown endured. It became a beacon of hope, a testament to the human spirit's resilience, and a cornerstone in the birth of a nation. In the midst of adversity, a savior emerged, not a person, but a plant, tobacco. In the dire circumstances of Jamestown, a beacon of hope shone brightly as John Rolfe, an English settler, introduced a crop that would change the course of history. Rolfe, who arrived in Jamestown in the early 17th century, brought with him seeds for a strain of tobacco that was milder compared to the harsh native tobacco that was already being cultivated in the region. Rolfe's strain of the leafy plant was a game changer. It was smoother, easier on the palate, and quickly gained popularity in England. The settlers had struggled to find a lucrative export that would make their colony economically viable. But with Rolfe's tobacco, they had struck proverbial gold. The sudden demand for this milder strain of tobacco across the Atlantic provided the much-needed economic backbone that Jamestown desperately needed. The settlers began to cultivate it on a large scale, dedicating vast swathes of land to its production. Tobacco cultivation became the mainstay of Jamestown's economy. The settlers were no longer just surviving, they were thriving. With the profits from the tobacco trade, they could afford to bring more people over from England, expanding their settlement and securing its future. The success of tobacco cultivation also influenced the social and political landscape of Jamestown. It led to the rise of a class of wealthy planters who held significant power and influence. This new social order, driven by the wealth generated from tobacco, would shape the future of not just Jamestown, but the entire region. Tobacco was more than just a crop. It was a lifeline that pulled Jamestown from the brink of collapse. It transformed the struggling colony into a thriving settlement and set the stage for the expansion of English influence in the New World. The story of Jamestown and tobacco is a tale of resilience and innovation. It's a testament to the indomitable spirit of the settlers who refused to give up, even when faced with seemingly insurmountable challenges. With the success of tobacco, Jamestown started to flourish. From its humble beginnings, Jamestown grew to become a pivotal piece in America's historical tapestry. In the heart of this emerging settlement, a spark of democracy was ignited. In 1620, the Virginia Company established the first representative government in America, known as the House of Burgesses. This was a pivotal moment, not just for Jamestown, but for the future United States. The House of Burgesses marked a shift from autocratic rule to a more democratic form of governance, a system where the people had a say. This laid the foundation for the democratic principles that America holds dear today. The House of Burgesses was a legislative assembly composed of 22 burgesses, or representatives, who were elected by the men of the colony. They held their first meeting in a small wooden church in Jamestown, where they enacted laws for the colony. This system of representative government was a revolutionary concept at the time, and it set the stage for the democratic ideals that would later shape the United States Constitution. But Jamestown's legacy extends beyond the political realm. The colony also marked key milestones in America's social history. In 1620, the first Africans arrived in Jamestown. This marked the beginning of a complex and painful chapter in American history, the institution of slavery. Yet, despite their unfathomable hardships, African culture and resilience became an integral part of the American story. In that same year, the first English women arrived in Jamestown. Their presence transformed the colony from a makeshift military outpost into a thriving community. These brave women played a crucial role in the colony's survival. They cooked, cleaned, helped in the fields, and bore children, ensuring the continuity of the settlement. Their arrival set the stage for the diverse society America would become, acknowledging the essential role of women in the fabric of American life. Jamestown, therefore, was not just a simple English settlement. It was a microcosm of the complex society that America would evolve into. It was a place where diverse cultures intersected, where democracy took root, and where the foundations of a new nation began to take shape. Jamestown, the first enduring English settlement in the New World, laid the groundwork for the United States of America as we know it today. Jamestown, a name etched in history, a testament to human resilience and the quest for a better life. This settlement, born at the dawn of the 17th century, was a beacon of hope for those who dared to venture into the unknown. The perilous voyage to the New World, a journey fraught with danger and uncertainty, was just the beginning of their struggles. Jamestown's early years were marked by a desperate fight for survival, a battle against starvation, disease, and the harsh elements. Yet in the face of adversity, Jamestown persevered, laying the groundwork for a thriving colony. thanks in large part to the rise of tobacco. This humble plant, a newfound gold, transformed Jamestown from a struggling outpost into a bustling economic hub. The legacy of Jamestown extends far beyond its borders, shaping the course of American history and influencing the world we live in today. The story of Jamestown serves as a reminder of our shared past and the foundations upon which our society was built.